Hello, self-healer. So, I have a request. Just for today, I want you to take a break from all your self-development books, all your self-development reading, audiobooks, listening, podcasts, besides this one, of course. And I want you to listen to this first and see how you can approach those things differently. We're going to break down a different way to approach self-development and self-healing from what I believe to be a healthier standpoint and a healthier quantum standpoint. So if you are new here, welcome. My name is Danielle, #Damcl at 𝑓𝇳𝋓𓋴𓓶 of damcldesigns.com, and this is Chat and Channel Session. In these sessions, my guides present me with a topic, or sometimes some of you present me with a topic, and we have a stream of consciousness channeling on it with my perspective as a quantum channel, spiritual advisor, energy artist, and energy healer. So the perspective today is going to be focused on, as I said, self-development work and self-healing. Now, while I am a huge proponent of that, while that is also centered around a lot of the content that I create and share, and a lot of the tools that I give my clients when they have sessions or participate in healing containers with me, I recently actually came to a new understanding and a new standpoint on self-development and on self-healing that I really felt called to share with you. So first, I have to give a shout out to a new friend of mine, 𝑓𝇳𝓹𝓴. I am going to link his channel below. If you are into reality transurfing and quantum physics and so many of the things that you know that I love, I think you will really love and appreciate his work. He has broken down reality transurfing, but he is also working on his own book and material, which I highly recommend. And knowing him personally, I can recommend him as well, and I think you'll really enjoy it there. But I was speaking to him about the programs and the subconscious programs that we have and that we carry. And you know, that's always been such a big part of my work in terms of understanding and rewiring and rewriting, or healing the programs. But in speaking to Shlomo, I really realized how much more balance I needed to call in around not only rewriting or healing, which I do believe in. We have a little bit of a different perspective on that, myself and him, but that's okay. We're here to grow. But not only rewriting and healing, but also working on the new programs, right? The new programs that we're writing in place of the ones that we recognize are no longer serving us. And while I do believe in retrocausality, and that is a great thing for you to research, especially if you're into self-healing or timeline work, I do also see so much more value in simultaneously writing a new program, not only being focused on rewriting programs or healing old wounds, but also calling in or writing a new program, a new belief system at the same time. Now, this is something that I've always done to another degree in terms of healing and clearing work, whether that is for a person or for a home or for a physical space or a tool. I have always advised my clients my practice of not only clearing out the energy or the dark matter or stuckness or energy blockage or whatever it is, but also putting light in its place, because in my experience, the universe abhors a vacuum. And so we can't only clear out a negative energy or entity, in my opinion, we need to also put light back in that space. That light can be a placeholder for something else that we decide on later, or that light, can act as sort of a stem cell, if you will, and become whatever thing we need it to be. But it is important in terms of doing that step so that you don't leave the space open for anything to go into. So that's in terms of clearing. And that's something, again, I've always just known to do and known how to do. But then taking it to this other level in terms of rewriting programs and subconscious programs and patterns and beliefs, for myself personally, I wasn't as diligent as I was with clients and helping clients to do that and install a new belief. I noticed that for me, because I was doing it within myself, I was so either distracted or in some cases drained of energy from both feeling the emotion and trying to maintain the perspective, the outside perspective, to do the healing or the rewriting, that sometimes I would forget to install the new program, install the new belief. And that, you guys, is actually why I highly recommend, if you are called and you are able, consider doing this work with someone that you vet and someone that you trust and someone that inspires you in their ability to do the work as well. Because when you have someone who can help you in an integrous way with that outside perspective and with whatever natural abilities and talents and see that they have, that work does become, in my experience, easier. It actually helps me value my work with people so much more in trying to do so much and maybe too much of my own self-healing, because it is a longer process and sometimes a more tedious process when you try to do these things on your own. Now, that is not to hit on a pressure point for you or to try to convince you to work with me or others. Obviously, you are very talented and you are so intelligent if you are here, and you are helped by spirit if you are called here. But it is something to consider, because it's not something that I considered enough in terms of working with other people. I think a lot of us who are self-healers, who are interested in self-development, can take on too much ourselves, and we can get lost in the shuffle sometimes. We can weigh ourselves down too much. So if we are in a position in life where we are able to ask for help, where we are able to afford paying others for help and working with others in a way where we have that outside perspective, in my experience, it just helps things go down a little bit easier or come into fruition a little bit faster. So that's my little PSA on that. But that's something that I did as well in also speaking to 𝑓 about some of my issues and things that I've been working through. And his perspective also helped me to see this very important key that I want to share with you, which is in terms of putting in a new program. Whenever we are approaching all of these videos, all of these podcasts, all of these self-development books, and I'm so proud of you if you've done that, but in my experience, a lot of that consumption can sometimes come from a trauma response of us feeling like we need to do it all ourselves, like we were just talking about, or like we need to know it all, or like we need to consume a certain amount or overconsume a certain amount of material before we will feel comfortable actually making the change or crystallizing the manifestation or putting in the new program or being fully healed. And so bearing that in mind, always being willing to take breaks, to integrate what we've been learning, to integrate what we've been healing, and also to see it from the new perspective of that it's not, and this is for my healing clients, I want you guys to listen as well if we haven't spoken about this yet personally. It is not that we are healing parts of us that are broken by listening to this material, whether that's my material or other books or things that you are called to. It's not that we are fixing broken parts. We are integrating and we are healing, yes, but when we consume this new material to inspire us to integrate and heal, we are not fixing, we are not pointing out the ways that we are broken. We are consuming that material in order to move closer to the version of us that we consent to being. So a lot of times in this material, in these books and in these studies and in these things that we read and listen to and consume, it is tremendous what we can learn about ourselves. You know, I study psychology, I study neuroscience, I study mindfulness. It's all so key and important, in my opinion, the ways that we could put it together. And often when we hear about the other ways, the other types of people that have been hurt, that are so similar to how we've been hurt, we have a tendency to point out the hurt, to hit upon pain points, and to have that material and information try to point out the ways in which we are broken. There's a whole school of teachers and supposed light workers out there and healers out there that make money and bank and high views off of pointing out the ways in which you are broken. And what I really have been striving to do more and more is to present the information and to help you consume the information, whether it's my material or someone else's, in a way that, yes, informs your experience, brings you aware of your experience, but points out to you that you are already empowered. From this standpoint right now, you are empowered because you are put in this position where you are receiving that information. You sought it out or it came to you. You are receiving the validation for things that you've been through, but you do not have to validate or allow anyone else to try to validate that you are or ever were broken. Okay? You are what you are. Those things, however horrible they may have been, and while you have my empathy, you do not have my sympathy, because I do not look down on you. You are an amazing being. And those things hurt, they were disruptive, but they taught you. I'm not saying that it's good that they happened. I'm saying they happened and you are now here, and the material that you are consuming, what you are reading, what you are listening to, who you are working with, how you are healing from others or from yourself or from spirit, is not intended from the highest perspective to point out that you were broken. It is intended to point your way, with your consent, to how you want to be healed. Okay, so I hope that that resonates. I hope that that makes sense for you. And you can check out my previous chat and channel on hope, because there's a practice in there for not accepting hope from anyone who would look down on you. So I hope that you try that out as well, because I use hope intentionally, and I want you to do that as well. I want you to know that you are never less than, even in the face of people that seem to have more knowledge than you in certain fields or in certain areas or in certain subjects. You have excelled knowledge in other areas for a reason. And while I do believe everything happens for us and for a reason, I also believe that in the quantum world, with our unconscious or subconscious consent sometimes getting hijacked by manipulators or abusers or, outside matrix type programs or entities, in my experience, that have done this, that reason for things happening, or those karmic momentums for things happening, don't always happen for us in terms of taking the higher path. And so in my self-development work and in my healing work that I, continuously work to improve both myself and my practice to help others more and more as well, I am striving to not only heal, to not only learn, but how to do that each time from a higher path, from a higher perspective, where we don't have to lose to win, where we don't have to consider ourselves broken in order to take the holistic approach, right? Healing and health comes from being holistic. And to be whole, you do have to, in my opinion, accept and become aware, at least, of all the parts of yourself. So that's often why so many of us go on these journeys of learning as much as we can about as much as we can, about the different psychological things, about empaths, about narcissists, about everything we can, right? People in the spiritual communities that consume this material are some of the most intelligent in the world, in our universe maybe, but we get stopped up by the wounding and by the emotion and by the fact that so much of this material has been put out there or marketed or finds us through the wounding and tries to perpetuate the wounding to a certain extent by making us continue to believe in the wound rather than believe in that material helping us to write the new program, the new belief system. So let's try to do an example, okay? This example obviously will not fit for everyone, but I just want to show an example of how we could take something like a piece of material, a piece of information, and transform it so that we can come to it from that place of power. So let's take the example of narcissists and narcissism, right? Because that's something that I've done a lot of chat and channel sessions on before. I have the Empaths and Energy Instant Access MasterClass, which is linked, which has a lot of material about narcissists and protecting ourselves as empaths from narcissists. And I think if you're here, if you're spiritual at all, you have most probably encountered a number of narcissists in your life, and probably some that have been in close relation to you that you've maybe been hurt by and that you've explored information on. So I want you to consider, when you are viewing new material or reading new material on narcissists, or if you've already done so in the past, how much that information that we took in validated our hurtful experiences, right? And we were like, yes, oh my God, my narcissist did that. My narcissist did that to me. And I want you to think about how sometimes the tendency and the momentum of us learning that material keeps us trapped and cycled in it, keeps us reliving it, even if those narcissists are no longer in our life. And so coming at it from this new perspective that I was talking about of, it's not that we're validating the brokenness or trying to fix the brokenness. It is that we are consuming the information to try to become more aware and gain the tools and move ourselves to the reality, closer to the reality to which we consent and agree, where that information becomes part of us, or we integrate it and make it a part of us, right? So that that's the new program, so that the understanding of that is the new program, and the understanding of that helps us to release the old programs, the old beliefs, the old woundings, and the old hurts that were keeping us trapped in the misunderstanding of the experience. Because how often have you had an experience and you get trapped in the why? You get trapped in the why. Why did that happen, or how did that happen? How could they do this to me? Why did they do this to me? And while those are very important questions because they send us on the journey to look for the answers and find the answers, we can get trapped in asking those questions, because the truth is, those questions are only important to get you catalyzed and started on the journey of finding answers, but you may never actually get those concrete answers of the how or the why. And the other answers that you get become so much more important. The how questions and the why questions are the things that are most tied to our emotions and to dragging us down back into the experience, because there is such a wounded part of us, perhaps a wounded inner child part of us, that is trying to understand it from the other person's perspective, because maybe they're not taking responsibility, they're not fully apologizing, or they're not doing the work to understand how or why they could do such a thing. So we're taking on their work as our work to try to get over it. And so what I want you to do, and I want this to encourage you to do, is to release yourself from the bondage of the how and the why, and get to the what. Get to the what am I supposed to be learning, or what can I learn from this? What can I do in place of it? What can I do from my new position? And I want you to look at any material that you look at in terms of self-development, manifesting, healing from that perspective. You are not doing it and consuming it and seeking that material out because you're not knowledgeable or because you're broken. You are seeking that out out of intelligence, out of integrity, and out of the ability that you have to upcycle and to quantum leap or jump realities, or however you like to think of it, transform yourself and gravitate to the version of you that already exists within the scope of that material being helpful to you, being easily usable to you, and helping you release the other things and the baggages that you have been carrying. So I hope that makes sense. Please feel free to participate in the chat portion of this chat and channel if you feel called, and ask me questions if you like. Obviously, general questions are better for the comment section. If it's too personal, I might direct you to a quantum session with me or something, or you may be interested in using the contact form in my video description here, where you can reach out to me if you're called to take this a step further and see what quantum and 𝑓 energy healing look like with me. I do consciousness coaching and soul retrieval and shamanic works in that as well, but that is not something that I have priced and listed on my website, because I like to first and foremost see if we are a good fit to do such deep works. I like to see where you're at and have a discussion with you and build a quantum container and a customized container for you and your needs, because we are all so unique. And so if you are called to that and you trust me and you resonate with that, I would love to see if we would be good to work together in that capacity. Or, as I said, you can visit my website, which is also linked, Damcl Designs, DAMCL Designs.com, for quantum and Akashic Records sessions and other types of spiritual sessions, energy art, enlightened merch, and other forms of support. I would love to see you there. If this has resonated, if you are feeling it, please give this a like and subscribe and share this with others who may find it helpful. I know that I have gotten myself caught in that trap, in that hamster wheel of constant self-development before, and it's also why I'm so passionate about always giving my clients, whether we work together once in a session or a mini reading, or whether we do a container for you, I always first and foremost give people tools and suggestions on things that they could do, because I want everyone to feel empowered. I want everyone to know that we are always continuously learning, and that we all have the ability to tap in to the quantum field and to higher and higher versions of ourself and our consciousness, and get to the places that we want and consent to being. So I am so excited, and I thank you so much. I would love it if you subscribed and sticked around. You can check the link in the description as well for other chat and channel sessions and relevant links, things that we've talked about already. And if you feel so inclined and are called and drawn and able, no pressure, but for those of you who would like to support my free and public works such as this, you can also leave energy exchange or appreciation donations of any and all amounts through paypal.me/𝑓𝑑𝑒senlightenededits. The donate link is also listed in support of my channels. And I appreciate you, whether you do that, whether this is your first or your returning time being here. And I will see you next time with Love, Light, and Light Codes. Love, Danielle, #Damcl at 𝑑esenlightenededits of damcldesigns.com. Be blessed and happy healing.